Now at 5, the contamination that's prompted state officials to issue an advisory about Cow Creek. Plus, the investigation into trash strewn across a Newton County road. And
I'm Tony Aiello at the Vatican, where I spoke with the most prominent U.S. Cardinal, Timothy Dolan of New York. His thoughts about the upcoming conclave.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
The Kansas Department of Health and Environment has issued a stream advisory for Cow Creek due to elevated levels of E. coli contamination. This is KOAM News at 5. I'm Dow Quick. KOAM's Anthony Saviello joins us in the studio with details of the advisory and what's being done.
Dow, thanks. The KDHE says the stream advisory is the result of operational problems at the Pittsburgh wastewater treatment facility. The department issued the advisory today because of potential elevated levels of E. coli bacteria and other contaminants may be present in Cow Creek and Spring River. It's important to note that residents and animals should not enter the water at this time. The city of Pittsburgh says on Sunday they discovered an underground pipe failure at its wastewater treatment facility. Monday, the city began repairing the failed pipe and has been in correspondence with the KDHE concerning the incident and repair activities. So let's take a look at the affected areas. Right here is Pittsburgh and the Pittsburgh wastewater treatment plant. Right here is Cow Creek. As we zoom out, Cow Creek spans all the way down to Spring River right here, and Spring River flows all the way down into Riverton near Empire Lake, this area also being affected. So the KDHE advises residents to stay away from the streams and the lake at this time. If you live or have activities near these streams, do not enter the stream or allow children or pets to enter those areas. KDHE will rescind the advisory once contact has been deemed safe. No information has been released on if or when the repair to that pipe at the treatment plant will be complete. We will update the story as we know more. Back to you, Dow.
All right, we'll check back with you at 6. Anthony, thanks. Newton County authorities are trying to track down the source of the trash that inconvenienced some drivers on Iris Road this morning. Quite a lot of it. The chief deputy says the eastbound lane was completely blocked with a massive amount of trash. Deputies were out helping traffic navigate the blockage. The chief deputy says they thought a waste management company's truck was the culprit, but based on GPS tracking, they determined that was not the case. That trash is now cleaned up. The Carthage Chamber of Commerce hosts an inaugural men's leadership breakfast at the YMCA Youth Activity Center in Carthage. The event dished out more than just a meal. It highlighted conversations about mentorship, education, and networking. Organizers say the event was intended to promote real talks among like-minded men, all driven by a shared goal of making a lasting impact in their community.
It's for men to get together to not only talk about the good and the bad, but also about the families, things that they may need, to just have an opportunity to have fellowship and to start your day with a cup of coffee before you go in and tackle the real world.
Really spoke to different levels in terms of what we should be or what we should strive to be as leaders in our communities, not only in our homes, but in our workplaces, in our environments.
Now, if you missed this event and you'd like to attend others, well, you should know they do plan to have more of these meetings throughout the year. Right now, let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Doug Heddy for a first look at the weather.
Yeah, and again, just like yesterday, we have scattered showers and thunderstorms across the region popping up during the afternoon. Most of these are behaving, but we could see a few random stronger storms, maybe a little bit of small hail kind of embedded within these storms. These are going to last the next couple hours. You can see a little heavier batch from Pineville up toward Goodman, also Neosho. All these are kind of drifting toward the north and to the east. We do have a few showers getting in on the west side of Joplin, and then if we head up toward Nevada, one little guy just north and west of Nevada. All the big time severe weather this evening will stay out across western parts of Kansas, so these will just kind of drift northeast and then slowly fall apart after about 9 or 10 p.m. But plenty of chances for rain in the forecast. We're going to look at that here in just a bit.
All right, we'll catch you in a few. It's day 2 of Pope Francis's public viewing inside St. Peter's Basilica at the Vatican ahead of his funeral this weekend, as tens of thousands of mourners continue to say their final farewells. We're getting new insight from Cardinal Timothy Dolan, Archbishop of New York, about what he and the other cardinals are up to in the lead up to next month's conclave to select the next pope. Tony Aiello has the latest now from the Vatican.
Some of Pope Francis's relatives were among those who paid their respects Thursday as he lay in state in a simple wooden coffin. Many mourners waited for hours for a glimpse of the late pontiff.
To see the Pope in his simple coffin, it takes your breath away, really.
The Vatican released this image of Pope Francis's tomb. It is marble with the simple inscription Franciscus and a reproduction of his pectoral cross, an image of Christ as the Good Shepherd. As the public mourning period continues, cardinals gathered again Thursday, part of a series of meetings before the conclave to elect the next pope. Cardinal Timothy Dolan of New York says it's time to get to know one another.
We listen to one another. There's a nice coffee break where we can chat.
Because Pope Francis expanded the College of Cardinals to represent smaller nations, many of them with very few Catholics, Cardinal Dolan says he's meeting a lot of these cardinals for the very first time. The 75-year-old is one of only 27 cardinals who voted in the last conclave, who is still eligible to vote this time around. He says a lot of the younger cardinals are asking for his advice.
They're kind of saying, what should we be doing? What should we be reading? How should we approach this? And I'm very moved by that. I feel like a big brother.
Catholics who spoke with us are eager to see who the cardinals will choose.
Hopefully the church will be guided by God to make a good choice this time.
But before the conclave can begin, Saturday's funeral and burial, when Pope Francis will be laid to rest. Tony Aiello, CBS News, the Vatican.
Cardinal Dolan says contrary to the politicking that's portrayed in the movie Conclave, the actual conclave is mostly praying and voting. That's why the meetings that are happening now are so important. Russia struck Kyiv with an hours-long barrage of missiles and drones, killing at least 12, injuring nearly 100 more. It's the deadliest assault on that city since last July. President Trump today offered criticism of Vladimir Putin, urging the Russian leader to stop. President Trump lashed out at Ukrainian President Zelensky yesterday, accused him of prolonging the killing field by refusing to surrender the Russia-occupied Crimean Peninsula as part of a possible deal. Russia illegally annexed that area in 2014. Still ahead, one man's trash.
There's gold in mountains of e-waste, and science is working to make it easier to extract. I'm Bradley Blackburn with how recycling electronics is a growing challenge and opportunity.
But first, disturbing results of a new study on cancer rates in the U.S. That's next in Health Watch. Topping today's Health Watch, a new national report shows overall cancer rate deaths they continue to decline, but as Stephanie Stahl reports, cases are increasing among women and young people.
Melissa Davis was just 30 years old when she was diagnosed with breast cancer.
It was just a time when I was just living my young life. I wasn't thinking about cancer or anything like that.
The South Jersey mom is part of a new trend, according to a new report. More women being diagnosed with breast cancer and surviving.
Every time I hear that, it gives me encouragement because I'm like, you can live with stage 4 and be a 20-plus year survivor.
The new report in the journal Cancer shows a steady decline in cancer deaths from 2001 through 2022.
This is because of better detections and new treatments that have come out.
Dr. Christina Annunziata with the American Cancer Society says cancers related to smoking are down because fewer people are lighting up, but there's been an increase in cancer related to obesity, things like breast, pancreas, and kidney cancers, and in people under the age of 50.
Why do we think there's been an increase in the number of younger people being diagnosed with cancers?
Well, that's certainly a topic for more research. I don't think we have a clear answer of that.
What is clear? Cancer screenings save lives. And the report says there was a disruption in things like mammograms in 2020 because of the pandemic. Cancer incidents were down that year and have now returned to expected levels.
It's challenging, very challenging.
For Melissa, who's 40 now with 3 children, she's had a second bout with cancer.
I just have to, maintain a balanced, healthy life with medication for the rest of my life.
Now, all about living with cancer, like so many others. Stephanie Stahl, CBS News, Philadelphia.
The report said racial disparities have not eased. One example of this is that black women have a 40% higher risk of dying from breast cancer than white women do. Exposure to a bacterial toxin called colobactin could be triggering an increase in colorectal cancer in young people. Colobactin can alter DNA, and in an analysis of hundreds of cases, scientists at UC San Diego found it was 3 times more common for patients under 40 than in those diagnosed after age 70. The scientists believe the damage might happen within the first 10 years of life, but they don't yet know how children are being exposed or how to stop it. And a pill is showing promise to help young people quit vaping. A clinical trial at Mass General Brigham found a drug already approved by the FDA for adults also helps teens and 20-somethings. Patients who took the drug Varincline were 3 times more likely to quit than those who received behavioral counseling. Like smoking, vaping is associated with nicotine addiction, pulmonary inflammation, and heavy metal exposure. And that is a look at today's health news. Later, the trend in computer scams across our nation, what a new FBI report finds.
And our thunderstorm chances continue in the forecast. We're going to look at that coming up. Well, it turned out to be another fairly nice day for us today. Temperatures once again mid to upper 70s to near 80 across the region. And just like yesterday, some afternoon scattered thunderstorms. Most of these have been behaving. We've had a few stronger storms, but really nothing severe across the region. You can see the parking lots wet. Here's Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. So if you are going to be on the roads this evening, just be careful with some wet roads. Look at the bands of showers and a few thunderstorms kind of working through. Heaviest right now along and south of I-44, Newton County into McDonald County. You can see these are slowly lifting off toward the north and to the east, and I'm not expecting anything too strong or severe, but these will continue to track eventually into Berry County, into Lawrence, and then also Dade County. But some heavier rain right along that I-44 corridor heading south into northwestern Arkansas. These are going to stick around next couple hours, then they'll be gone. Then we look pretty good for the rest of the night. Bigger storms, severe weather staying out across central western Kansas, down through the panhandles of Oklahoma and Texas. Temperatures pretty good. Where you are not seeing the rain, upper 70s. Where you are seeing the rain, you have dropped into the upper 60s. You can see the road's kind of wet. 7th and range line, 73 southerly winds at about 5 to 10. Thankfully, it hasn't been very windy over the past couple days. Sliding back through the 60s, but we're going to cap it off near 60 once again for us later on tonight. So we have these weak waves. We got a weak dry line out to the west. That's why we've had severe weather western Kansas down through the panhandles of Oklahoma and Texas over the past couple days. We just have this weak wave passing through, and then I think we're pretty good for most of the night, but rain chances increase again tomorrow. Just kind of weak upper level waves kind of rotating through, giving us those chances for scattered showers and thunderstorms. Let me walk you through time. After we get rid of these, we look pretty good. Here's 3 a.m. We do have to watch some storms out to our west. A few may try to drive in late tonight into early tomorrow morning. So late tonight, you may hear some rumbles of thunder. Here's 6:30 in the morning, scattered thunderstorms to start the day. We get a cold front that slices in right around the noon hour. Couple little thunderstorms can pop up, but most of you are going to be dry during the afternoon. High temps into the mid 70s. Tomorrow night looks fine. Clouds increase, but we get some thunderstorms that start to increase by Saturday morning into the afternoon. So again, Saturday afternoon, scattered thunderstorms. Saturday night, a few bands of scattered thunderstorms working through as well. Here's your Friday day planner, 69 by noon. High temp right around 77. We also want to put in the back of our mind, higher severe threat starts to work in. So this is going to be Monday, especially Monday evening, our western counties, but shifts through the region, and then the higher threat on Tuesday along and south of I-44 for showers and thunderstorms. So keep that in the back of your mind. Of course, we are in peak severe weather season right now. 77 tomorrow, 69 Saturday, 78 on Sunday, a few thunderstorms mainly in the morning. 82 Monday. I think Monday is going to be dry or fairly dry. It's Monday night and Tuesday that severe threat really ramps up.
Okay, I know you'll be keeping an eye on that, as will the rest of the weather team.
You bet.
Doug, thanks. Gold is hidden in piles, you might even say hills of electronic waste. The effort to recover it coming up in Consumer Watch. Topping today's Consumer Watch, 12 states are suing the Trump administration in the U.S. Court of International Trade to block President Trump's tariffs, claiming they're unlawful and have brought chaos to the American economy. The lawsuit is separate from the one filed by California last week. It comes as sources familiar with the matter tell CBS News that executives from Walmart and Target privately warned the president that his tariffs could lead to empty store shelves in the coming weeks. Yesterday, President Trump softened his rhetoric on tariffs against China, insisting he wants to make a, quote, fair deal. Scammers stole a record $16.6 billion last year. That's according to the FBI's annual Internet Crime Report. Most of those losses were due to fraud, though ransomware reports also rose 9%. People over 60 years old filed the most complaints, nearly 150,000, and reported the most losses at $4.8 billion. Stash of old cell phones and other electronics in your sock drawer is a symptom of a growing challenge: what to do with electronic waste. According to the UN, more than 60 million tons are thrown out every year, and just a quarter of that is safely recycled. Bradley Blackburn shows us how finding the hidden value inside our gadgets could help solve the problem.
At eWorks in Freeport, New York, these piles of dusty TVs, PCs, printers, and other old tech are the start of an electronic treasure hunt.
There is a value that would be there. Maybe it's a small value, but it's our job to really go through that process and evaluate each one of those components.
CEO Mark Wilkins' team first tests to see if electronics still work. If not, they're disassembled.
That's all gold plating there?
Yes.
Because anything with a chip can contain gold, and more than you might think.
It's not just the gold that you can see with your eye, but it's also what's inside component chips.
And the number of chips that are on it.
If you take 1 million of these, you get something close to 70 to 85 pounds of gold.
Professor Ali Abbas-Barat with Cornell University says there's more gold in a ton of e-waste than in ore mined from the earth. But to date, it's required harmful chemicals like cyanide to filter it out. So they developed a method they say is more efficient with less environmental risk. It uses an organic compound to absorb gold ions like a sponge.
Our sponge selectively targets only gold, and that's a major difference.
That gold can then be reused in solar panels, new electronics, possibly even jewelry. Easier, cheaper extraction could boost the financial incentive to safely recycle e-waste and keep toxic metals out of landfills.
I think the world right now is much more aware.
Still, it takes a lot of sorting, and that's where eWorks found an opportunity to create dozens of new jobs.
Our mission is to provide training, education, and employment for people with disabilities. So about 48% of our workforce are people with special needs.
A crew with the skills to help mine these obsolete electronics for gold. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, Freeport, New York.
A final check of the forecast next. Up next on the CBS Evening News, hospitals that are supposed to provide free or discounted care to those in need, some of them are instead suing patients who can't pay for treatment. We'll have an investigation. Then on KOIM News at 6, we're going to go live to the site of the NFL Draft in Green Bay to look at what the priorities might be for the Kansas City Chiefs. Plus, Joplin High School's Constitution team took first place at the state competition, and now they're being recognized in a big way. We'll show you. And we'll talk with a Newton County deputy investigating the source of that trash thrown across a road. Stay with us. CBS Evening News and then KOIM News at 6. Some of you have been getting rain. A lot more of you will in the coming days.
Yeah.
At least here and there and elsewhere.
Exactly. We're going to have scattered thunderstorms kind of sticking around over the next few hours. A few more popping up late tomorrow into tomorrow morning, but there's chances somewhere in the viewing area each and every day for the next week.
All right. Thanks for joining us. CBS Evening News is next. Of course, we're going to be right back here at 6. Let's make it a great evening.